Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the inside pillow. So the first thing you want to do is open up your fabric and you're going to iron it really good. Okay, make sure that it gets ironed really well. Try to get most of those folds out best you can. Use that steam button, get those folds out. Okay, so we're just going to iron the whole thing so it's all good and flat. Get rid of all those wrinkles the best we can. Okay, then the next step you want to do is you're going to fold it in half, crosswise or hamburger style. Okay, so that it looks something like that. And I'm going to iron that fold. So where I folded it, I'm going to iron it down. So we've got a really good fold right there. Then I'm going to take my seam gauge. Okay, this is a little ruler. It's a little metal ruler. They're on your tables. And I want to measure 4 inches. So this plastic marker will slide. So I'm going to mark 4 inches. And then I'm going to measure over. So the side opposite the fold, which is the other long side, I'm going to measure over 4 inches, and I'm going to use chalk. So it's called Taylor's chalk. And I'm going to mark it. You make sure you use a color that you can see. Don't use white because you won't be able to see it. And then I'm going to measure over 4 inches, and I'm going to make another mark. Okay, so there's my marking for my opening that I need to leave. Okay, so then the next step is we're going to go ahead and pin this together. And remember, when you pin, that you want to be perpendicular to where you're going to be sewing it. So what that means is I'm going to sew it here. Oops. I'm going to sew it here, so my stitching will be going this way. So that's why I want my pin perpendicular to where my stitching will be. Okay, so then I'm going to put another pin here, and I'm going to put a pin on the other side. And now I'm ready to sew it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and sew this. I'm going to start at the top, which is the fold. So this is the fold all the way across. I'm going to sew down. So all the way down to the corner. I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to sew over to my first chalk line, and I'm going to back stitch. Remember to back stitch when you start at the top and when you stop at that marked line. So I'll go ahead and show you sewing this. And you're going to sew it on 5/8, just like we've sewn everything else. I'm using black thread so that you can see what I'm doing, but you can use either white thread or you can use the thread that you used when you sewed your pillowcase together. Okay, so right before I get to that pin, I'm going to take it out. So all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to turn a corner. I'm going to do a pivot down there at the bottom, so I want my needle down. And I'm going to turn, oops, need to go one more stitch. Okay, then I'm going to sew towards my chalk line. So I'm going to sew towards my chalk line right on 5/8. When I get to that chalk line, I'm going to stop and I'm going to back stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Okay, so now I have sewn it, and that's what it will look like when you're done sewing the 2 sides. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this right side out. So it's like when you're turning a sock right side out. Okay, if your sock's inside out, you need to turn it so you can put it on your foot. You're going to just turn this so it becomes right side out. It's going to be kind of a blob. Okay, so then I want a point turner just like you used when you turned your pillowcase right side out. And I'm just going to very carefully poke those corners out. And if you slide it rather than poke, see how I'm sliding? That usually does a little bit better. So I'm going to get all my corners poked out. Just do your best. Some of them don't want to poke out very well, like the ones where your stitches go over each other. It doesn't poke out that well. Okay, so this area right here is where we left it open so we can put in the stuffing, and that's where we're going to be hand sewing it closed. So we just want to make sure that you sewed the 5/8. So this part right here should be folded inside 5/8 of an inch wide. Okay, so I got it all turned, and now I'm just going to take my iron and I'm going to press it. All right, so we're getting that all pressed. And then we'll go ahead and put in the stuffing. And you want to put in enough stuffing so that it is going to be fluffy like a pillow, but not so much that it's hard as a rock. So just put in, you can look at my sample to see how much stuffing to put in. And then after you put in your stuffing, then you'll sew this closed by hand. We are going to watch a video on how to do that. So that's how you do your inside pillow.